And welcome back to another Mental Health Monday. My name is Alexa Foja, and I'm here with Amanda, and we're gonna be talking about happy hormones and how to hack them.
Okay, so what are hormones? Hormones are chemicals produced by various glands in the human body, whose primary function is to communicate between two glands or between a gland and an organ. So the hormones in your body rise and fall throughout the day, and there are some hormones which are involved in the regulation of mood, pleasure, bonding, and even pain relief. And we'll talk more about those as we move through the presentation. The critical components of your health too. So they're involved in like our growth and development, our metabolism, and our reproduction. And sometimes these hormones are called neurotransmitters. There are no big differences between hormones and neurotransmitters except for where they act. So for example, for happy hormones, they travel through the bloodstream to different organs and tissues, while happy neurotransmitters only occur in the brain and central nervous system where they communicate directly via neurons.
All right, so first we're going to talk about dopamine, and dopamine is a chemical that is part of the brain's reward system. Dopamine is known as the feel-good neurotransmitter and is strongly associated with pleasure and rewards. It helps us strive, focus, and find things interesting. And it's released when our brain is expecting to be rewarded. And rewards vary from person to person. So something that I find pleasurable, Amanda might not find pleasurable, and so forth. And when you come to associate a certain activity with pleasure, just the anticipation can be enough to raise your levels of dopamine. So examples include shopping, eating or drinking, drawing, cooking, just partaking in anything else that you find enjoyable. Now, let's suppose your favorite comfort snack is your grandma's peanut butter cookies. Levels of dopamine may increase in your brain while mixing the batter, smelling them bake, or seeing them come out of the oven. And then when you eat your cookies, the dopamine will flood your brain, reinforce your craving, and focus on satisfying your motivations in the future. Low levels of dopamine can be a reason why you're feeling a little bit off. And if you have low levels of dopamine, you may experience some of these symptoms: reduced alertness, difficulty concentrating, less motivation and enthusiasm, poor coordination and movement difficulties, and lack of sleep. Lack of sleep can also lower your levels. A 2012 study found that sleep deprivation can lead to a noticeable reduction in the availability of dopamine receptors in the morning. And when you have fewer receptors in your brain, there's nowhere for dopamine to attach onto. Increasing dopamine. There are a few ways to increase dopamine. Dopamine is produced from the amino acids tyrosine and phenylalanine, both of which can be obtained from foods which are high in protein. High intakes of these amino acids may boost levels of dopamine, and examples of food high in protein include lean meats like beef and pork, poultry like chicken and turkey, fish and seafood like salmon, crab, and mussels, dairy products like milk and yogurt, specifically Greek yogurt, and cheese as well. And I know that they always talk about cottage cheese is very good for you and high in protein. Nuts and seeds like almonds, walnuts, and sunflower seeds, and legumes and beans like lentils, tofu, and chickpeas. Getting enough sleep. Not getting enough sleep can reduce dopamine sensitivity in your brain, which can result in excessive feelings of sleepiness. And so getting a consistent full night's rest can help regulate your body's natural dopamine rhythms. And listening to music. This is such a fun way to stimulate dopamine release in your brain. So as listening to music increases activity in the reward pleasure area of the brain, which are rich with dopamine receptors. To date, all studies on music and dopamine have used instrumental tunes. So more research is needed to see if songs with lyrics have the same or potentially greater effects.
So the second happy hormone that we'll be covering today is serotonin. Serotonin is the key hormone that stabilizes our mood, feelings of well-being, and happiness. So serotonin is the feel-good hormones in our gut. It's something that we don't really think about, but it's essential for mood, digestion, sleep, brain function, and our circadian rhythm. Different factors that influence serotonin. There are different factors that influence serotonin production and levels. So one factor is our microbial cells in our colon. They have the ability to stimulate the cells that make serotonin. So basically, our gut bacteria participates in our serotonin production. And there are two important short chain fatty acids, butyrate and acetate, and they've been shown to increase serotonin production in the gut. Another factor is tryptophan, a substance that your gut can turn into serotonin. So it's an essential amino acid, which means that you must get it from your diet because your body is unable to make it. Low serotonin. So if you have low serotonin, you might, struggle with anxiety. You might be feeling depressed or feeling irritable or aggressive. Have sleep issues or feel fatigued throughout the day. You might even feel impulsive, decreased appetite, experience nausea and digestive issues, and you might even crave sweets and carbohydrate-rich foods. So now going into increasing our serotonin, a diet of fiber-rich plant foods with meat and fat in moderation is associated with more abundant bacteria that produce acetate and butyrate. A balanced whole food diet has been shown to promote mental health. And folks in general who follow more of like a Western diet, which is refined carbohydrates, fast food, and animal products, tend to have less beneficial bacteria. So I don't know, sticking to your like indigenous foods and like lifestyles might actually like promote health in ways that we don't really get them in the West. And a regular fitness regimen is also known to boost mood, relieve anxiety, and even combat depression. So exercise can help promote tryptophan and serotonin levels, and even boost the diversity of our gut microbiome. And moving on to specific foods that we can eat to increase our serotonin. So food for our gut microbiome, we have apples, barley, beetroot, cold potato, oats, onions, and you can take a screenshot of this slide to kind of have a list of foods that you can eat that can help increase your serotonin. And then also to increase foods that are rich in the amino acid tryptophan. Tryptophan is, sunflower seeds. I used to eat sunflower seeds when I used to play softball. I was like famous for that. Milk, oats, wheat, beef. So again, you can feel free to take a screenshot of this slide. Another way that we can increase our serotonin is by mood induction. So thinking about something that helps you feel good, that can help increase serotonin in your brain, which can help promote an improved mood in general. So it is kind of hard to change our thoughts in a sense. There's the whole thing where sometimes like when you're depressed, people say, just think happy thoughts, and it's not that easy. But if you were to create some sort of intentional time throughout the day to kind of think about happy memories, that can definitely help to increase your serotonin. Thinking about positive experiences you've had with loved ones, looking at photos that make you really happy. So things like that can help increase your serotonin.
All right, so now we're on to oxytocin, which is commonly known as the cuddle or the love hormone. Oxytocin is involved in childbirth and breastfeeding and is also associated with empathy, trust, sexual activity, and relationship building. It's released during sex and childbirth to aid and facilitate reproduction. It is also secreted when we look into the eyes of our loved ones or even when we hug them. So for childbirth and breastfeeding, oxytocin increases uterine motility and allows the uterus to widen and contract when giving birth. And also when a baby latches on the mother's breast, it triggers oxytocin release. This signals the body to give milk for the baby so the baby can eat. And then bonding. Studies found that mothers with high levels of oxytocin are more likely to engage in affectionate parenting behaviors, and babies who receive this type of parenting experience a boost in oxytocin, which makes them want more contact with their mother and further strengthens their bond. Low levels of oxytocin can make one feel less connected to others or less good about oneself. And low levels of oxytocin in a nursing mother would prevent the milk ejection reflex and prevent breastfeeding. However, there are some ways to increase your oxytocin, and some ways to help you feel the love a little bit more include doing something nice for someone, just partaking in random acts of kindness. Not only does this make another person happy, it can in turn make you happy as well. Petting your animals. There's actually research on this that both dogs and humans see increases in oxytocin from physical contact, such as petting and stroking. Sexual intimacy, having sex, particularly having an orgasm, is one key way to raise your oxytocin levels. Practice active listening, empathetic listening. When your friend or partner wants to talk, give them your complete undivided attention. This means making eye contact and ridding of any distractions, going on in your head, around you. And this close interaction can help you feel more connected to each other. Sharing your love and affection with the people who mean the most to you. Tell the person how much you care and appreciate them. And then lastly, just giving hugs and kisses, holding hands, or cuddling with someone you love.
So the final happy hormone that we'll be covering today is endorphin, otherwise known as the painkiller. So endorphins are hormones and neurosignaling molecules that function as painkillers. They inhibit the transmission of pain signals in the central nervous system by binding to opioid receptors, or the body's natural morphine. It's not the same as dopamine. It's similar to it. They're related. When endorphins bind to receptors of the central nervous system, dopamine, the pleasure hormone, is released. So there is that like interconnectedness there. Happy hormones are well known not because they block pain signals, but because they induce euphoria. So euphoria is typically experienced during the runner's high. So if you've ran before, if you've done cross country or anything, then you might have experienced that runner's high. Endorphins are involved in our natural reward circuits and are related to important activities like eating, drinking, physical fitness, and sex. So they're kind of related more to like our sensational pleasures and feelings in a sense. So this is also where like people will typically get addicted to certain things. So like food addictions, sex addictions, gambling addictions. And there's probably like a whole bunch of research that falls into endorphin and how addictions play a role into that. Endorphins also surge during pregnancy. So it helps during pregnancy. And they minimize discomfort and pain and maximize pleasure. This helps us to continue functioning despite injury or stress. This also relates to like evolutionary biology and psychology. So endorphins have been shown to also help reinforce social attachments. So even though it's not really very true today, in early human history, people who stuck together in social groups were better able to survive and reproduce. So again, going back to that evolutionary biology and psychology. So if you experience low endorphin and your body isn't producing enough of it, you might experience depression, anxiety, moodiness, aches and pains, addiction, and going back to addiction, trouble sleeping, and impulsive behavior. So increasing our endorphin levels. By promoting an overall sense of well-being, endorphins may have benefits, including alleviating depression, reducing stress and anxiety, boosting our self-esteem, reducing our weight, and helping us deal with pain during childbirth if you're able to have children. Your body naturally produces endorphins when you do things like eat chocolate, exercise, create music, or even like listen to music, dance, laugh, enjoy your favorite dish, get a massage, eat something spicy, try some aromatherapy, watch your favorite TV show or drama, and meditate. Alexa, do you want to give a quick recap of the stuff we just covered?
Definitely. So just wanted to go over that Serotonin is a mood stabilizer. It focuses on your well-being and your happiness. Dopamine was all about pleasure and the motivational role in our brain's reward and pleasure system. Oxytocin is all about that bonding, love, and trust. And then endorphins was linked with pain relief, runner's high, and relaxation. And then just a little recap on how to hack them. There's a little photo. You can screenshot this and keep it. Again, going over dopamine, you can get it from completing a task, just partaking in something that you enjoy. For oxytocin, petting your dog, hanging out with someone you love, telling them how much you love them. For serotonin, you can do meditation, swimming, cycling. And then endorphin, using essential oils, watching a comedy, eating dark chocolate.
That was amazing. Thank you so much, Alexa. So now for like our activity. So if you're watching this, you're more than welcome to pause this video and take 5 minutes to block out time in your calendar this week to practice at least one way in which you will work towards increasing the levels of your happy hormones. So maybe you can focus on each happy hormone and do one thing for each one. So maybe, scheduling time to go outside this week at least once and putting in a run or even a walk. Schedule intentional time to think about happy memories, even cooking a healthy meal using the fruits and ingredients we kind of showcased earlier. So yeah, that's a good way to get into the habit of intentionally working on increasing our happy hormones. And as a reminder, CAPS is here for you. We are still holding, CAPS itself is holding therapy sessions, one-on-one therapy sessions, group therapy sessions. So if you're interested in that stuff, feel free to reach out to CAPS by emailing them at umdearborncaps@umich.edu. It's free and confidential. It's already covered in your tuition, and no one will know that you signed up unless you tell them. And of course, support groups are still available. So you can definitely Google UM-Dearborn peer mentor support groups, and you'll find a list of our times that we meet.
All right, that is the end of our presentation. Thank you so much for learning about happy hormones and how to hack them. If you have any questions, we put our information on here for you. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Take care.
Thank you.